Okay, so I've been racking my brain on things to do for videos for you guys. So here's my first attempt at doing something new. Let me know how you like it. Leave a comment, subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and if you have any more suggestions, I'd love to hear them. I know it's been all the rage lately to watch people play and do the spectating solos. I thought I would take that a little bit further and do more than just spectating solos, but also kind of breaking down why things work and why things don't in solos rounds. So today's going to be our first attempt at that, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you like and what you don't like, and then let's get to the video. Okay, so the ultimate goal of this video is going to be to obviously spectate solos. And secondly, probably the more important part of the video is going to be about attempting to break down why things work and why things don't work in a random solos environment. Obviously, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. I gotta kill myself on here. So in the game, to make sure that I do a honest spectating. So we're just gonna go over here and fly into the water, and we'll probably actually just die before we even hit the ground. Because the timer is pretty short. Obviously, I'm not going to have a cam up because I wanted to go in here and block up a bunch of sections of the screen, as it will not be worth doing. See, is this guy here or is this AFK? We're just going to bunny hop around. There we go. And now we're going to be watching somebody here. Not a fan of this gulag at all. Not a fan of the gulag at all. So we're going to be starting off here watching this person drop back in and die. So that was short-lived. Well, if we're going to dissect that one, the problem was gravity. Gravity was the problem. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. We still got people diving in. So this is going to be a good long round. This other person might be actively watching people as well. So there you go. There you go. It looks like we've got multiple people moving over to Beachhead. Our character here is going to be really late to the game. Circle is pretty solid. Looks like a mine start. This guy looks to be just chasing down for a early game out of the air, but you gotta reload that thing. You're never gonna make it. You're never gonna make it. Okay, it looks like it's going to be a pretty easy start here for our character. We're going to be landing out here at airfield in a direct chase versus a fuzzy bush boy. Not a huge fan of the standard battle royale right now, as a lot of you might know, as I've been very much so preferring Vanguard royales. And that dude's down, so that's what he gets for chasing. Don't chase. So what failed there was he continued to chase the character where he knew the other person was landing on a building and could get a gun. It's a bad decision. A lot of times if someone is dropping in and landing ahead of you in a round and you are actively knowing that they're going to be getting the option of getting a gun first, unless you know for 100% that you are going to be beating them, it's probably a bad decision to drop right behind them after that. We are on to the third person we're watching now. They have managed to collect a automaton and MP40. Solid ground loot. Solid ground loot. They are really close to the circle, so it's going to be easy rotate. They're going to have to be coming in towards Beachhead if they're looking for an early loadout. If they're not looking for an early loadout, they're going to have to make their way probably towards Peak. Not a huge fan of this side of the map if you are running solo, as the rotations are terrible for getting caught out. If you check the map here again, you'll see runway is pretty low population right here. This is very much similar to like in Verdansk, where you had to cross from the like farmhouses over to the stadium. Bunch of dead zone where there's not much cover, not much to do, not much loot. So this is a really hard area. If you're not playing with friends, landing around at Beachhead and cycling through the river, you're going to be running into a lot of problems out here. Now, granted, you could never run into somebody here, but if you do, you're out in the open and they can see you first really easily. We've got our character here running through and checking all of the buildings over here by Beachhead, which is a good point, a good start. They know that they dropped late, so they know that they don't have a lot of people in this area, or they shouldn't have a lot of people in this area. We only saw 2 on the fall coming in, and 1 was our guy, and 1 was this guy. There could have been a few other ones that landed Beachhead, as Beachhead is a fan favorite, it seems. A lot of people like to land there. And after the addition of the balloons make this map a lot more mobile, especially in the Vanguard mode where the vehicles are atrocious. I am a fan of the atrocious vehicles because I don't believe that the vehicles should be the primary use of the VR. I think the vehicles should be a risk-reward factor. And I feel like the Verdansk vehicles, the Modern Warfare vehicles, were a bit too strong. We do hear gunfire. This is a really hot lobby. It's currently at 76 people before the first circle even closes. It's only about halfway into close as well. So this might be a low kill count game for this guy if they manage to make it all the way through. Numbers are dropping rapidly. We're at 72 now. We're probably looking at maybe a 65 player first circle, which means I think if I remember correctly, seeing the start, it was about 120 people coming in, so we're about to lose about half the lobby in the first 5 minutes. That is that's generally a sign of a high like KD high skill level lobby. The higher the skill level in the lobby, the more people are apt to attempting to get into combat, a lot less camping, and a lot more action. So you're probably seeing an easy 1.0, 1.4 somewhere in that lobby. 67 people still remaining, and our guy is still yet to find anybody else after the initial conflict. We did hear gunfire over near Beachhead. He's making a pretty solid rotation here as he's moving to the high ground over Beachhead, and he knows that if there is someone nearby, at least they're fighting on even ground, opposed to fighting on the low ground if he would have went directly into Beachhead. This area generally has a lot of loot, and our guy is recognizing now that the area has been hit as there are doors open and needs to make a decision here. Most people are going to generally work down into Beachhead if they don't think that there's anybody there. If they do think there's somebody there, a lot of people are going to need to make the rotation over to this encampment right past these geysers. This encampment is a very, very pivotal spot for mid-game rotations, as it is one of the primary balloons in the area, but it is also a very important location because it is the transitional point between Beachhead and Peak, which is, and to a lot of people's dismay, Peak is one of the areas of the map that is centralized, very high ground, and can lead to a lot of deaths. We do see one person moving right now into the rocks. He does see him, but there is a second player coming in from the outside, coming on Beachhead. This person has put himself into a wide open spot. He did buy a UAV at the buy box, but is downed and out. Our person that we saw running from the buy boxes surprisingly has a Bren. I know that is a shocker for everybody running a 3x6 with a 6.5 Sakura Bren, but everybody hold your jaws. I bring them back up. I know the shock is too much to handle, but our 6.5 Sakura, which should technically be swapped out right about now to be using the 100 round mag instead of the 6.5, as the 100 round actually has really good control and seems to be a little bit more reliable, despite the fact that the other one has been nerfed more. The 100 round seems to provide you better builds with the polymer and continuous fire builds on the Bren. It looks like he is currently running a Bren and a MP5. Judging by that camo, that is an MP5 from Modern Warfare. So that is a really high time to kill, or really fast time to kill. It is the 9mm rounds though, so not as fast as it could be with the 10mm rounds. So Bren MP4 or MP5 for our newest contestant on the solos here. We've got good movement now. Bowza, I think his name's Bowza, coming in with a high mobility MP5, and of course the very, very necessary Bren. Still sees the one character moving, attempting to use the mounting function to get the most out of it, but Looks like can't even break armor. That's a lot of bullets to waste and a lot of noise to make for a solo player out on a solo hill. It's probably not the best not the best fight. Right now, he should be moving towards circle more rather than attempting to hold out a character who has to cross vast fields. Right now, this is probably not the best. Now we've got good come in. It's a very, very good hip fire build. It's a good hip fire build on the MP5. So that's awesome. He's attempting a holdout. He did catch one person. We're up to 4 kills. And again, good movement. One of the biggest things that I generally like to recommend for anybody, if you are currently moving, if you're moving through the field, one of the biggest things to do is to always attempt to match the weapon you're using to the distance you expect combat. Through an open field, the Bren's a solid choice, but running through these trucks, always best to swap over to something like an MP5 or anything that's a high mobility gun. If you happen to be running a sniper and sniper support setup, though, you could find yourself running into some issues, whereas a lot of sniper support guns are a little slow on the ADS and generally for best at mid to mid-close combat. We are still attempting to hold out the players here. We did see a vehicle go by. He did acknowledge it, but he didn't attempt to make any pushes towards it right before catching the person in the rotation. But again, like I was saying before earlier, you spend too much time out in the open, firing, bringing attention to yourself, not getting into zone, and you're going to end up with someone playing keep out. Right now, we've got Vampix coming in with a kilo. Real easy clear right there. Stuck out in the open and just burn him to the floor. Kilo, of course, being one of the Modern Warfare favorites. Still has a good TTK. It's one of those guns that people forgot about once other guns started coming out, but they shouldn't have. The Kilo has never really been in a bad spot. We're looking at a Kilo Swiss. This is a pretty decent sniper support combo. It looks like Vampix is also attempting to do the holdout situation. In quads, duos, trios, holdouts are a really effective way of reducing the field while not putting yourself in too many problems. Unfortunately enough, in solos, putting yourself inside of an awkward like zone hold is going to end up causing maybe a few more issues than you might want. Random cluster strike did see doors open, probably anticipating someone inside, hoping to keep them locked while they make a rotation over to the balloon. Maybe not. We are currently looking at Circle 2, 27 players. At this point, we've got one of two things that could be happening. Either A, this is quite possibly the sweatiest solos lobby I have ever seen. By far, could be the sweatiest solo lobby I've ever seen. And someone is attempting a world record. Or two, the one that no one ever wants to hear and no one ever wants to ever be part of. But there could be a hacker in the lobby. We are currently at 24 people on Circle 3. Circle 3 with 24 people with a beachhead rotation. It's not great. Most of our fights, I imagine, went down around airfield, field, and peak, as they are hot spots. We're going to have a lot of people rotating into mines coming from those areas. He did grab a bounty. We can see that there's currently the bounty north of factory, or what is that? North of mines, coming from factory. We have a Swiss staring at it. Looks like Vampix has found the character with the Swiss there. They see him moving. Decent sliding, decent mobility. We're gonna see this. Oh, it looks like he has been found by 2 players. Not just his bounty, but also someone up the hill. Not gonna make it. Vampix is going down, I do believe. Yeah, but that is it for Vampix, as they were hit by an Owen gun, but I can't see the name of the person who downed him. Falth. Falth coming in with this is 4 kills. Vampix had 6. We're looking at an Owen and Farah build. Looks like this one was a late drop, or maybe a rebuy, as we're looking at no ammo in the Farah there until running over Vampix's body again. Falth, though, doesn't know that Vampix was currently hunting somebody that was relatively close. We do see Falth making the rotation into the circle early before everybody else we've been watching. as we do not want, as Falth is probably a little bit ahead of the game, knowing they don't want to make a late rotation in solos. It looks like they're using Plague Diamond, so a zombies player. So at least that's something, right? You know, worked hard for that camo, I hope. Only 4 kills. So we're probably looking at not our cheater if there is a cheater in this round. So that's good. I would like to see this round end without a blatant cheater killing somebody. That would be great. Only 17 people remaining in circle 3. This is going to get to a battle of position, as we can generally assume either A, there's one person right now which is wiping the lobby, whether legitimate or not, or there's a bunch of people that are all doing a really good job of controlling their individual zones. Now is where Falth needs to make a decision here. Does he hold the zone corners? He does see someone jumping. Can he make the shots? That's a lot of poke damage, but is it enough to finish? Falth in a reload. Losing the character there in the trees. Burning all the ammo. Falth, you got to be careful. So generally, that would have been better to leave alone until you could realize whether or not you could take him out. With that poor shot placement, drawing attention to yourself and down. Okay, we've got Popcorn coming in now and replacing Falth here. Poor shots followed by bad placement on the circle, followed by being out in the open. It'll get you every time. Easy job for Popcorn to be able to come up and use an MP40, burn him straight to the ground. Falth never had a chance. Barely even had any ammo left. Again, you got to think about your positioning before you start opening fire in some of these fights, especially in solos where you're more likely to deal with more passive players or more opportunity players. There is a difference between camping and being opportunistic. If you see a moment where taking a shot isn't worth the fight, if you can't guarantee yourself going to win that fight, sometimes it's worth more watching for a moment, figuring out what's going on around you, and then attempting to engage the fight when you know it's opportunistic for you. Don't be confused that for camping, obviously, where you sit in a corner of a building for an entire round and just maybe, just walked up on one there. Should have taken more time, though, to figure out where it was before they started firing. Another 6.5 Bren goes down to probably another 6.5 Bren. If we're going to be completely honest here, I don't expect anything of variety from these people. The character did start making a movement. They are trying to attempt to hold him out, but this is probably bad on both of their accounts. The one who moved out of the thing now has lost the high ground advantage that they had, at least the high ground evening that they had, to the character that was able to self-res. Was a bit more aggressive, so has been able to push. Higher rate of fire gun there. Sounds like maybe a Mac 10. I'll have to see here in a second. And it did sound like it had a tracer pack as well. Could have been a PPSH, one of the PPSH tracer sets. Popcorn attempting to lose the person who's already downed them. There is only 11 people left, and this is circle 4. It is getting moved out into the hills over here near the ruins, just north of the airfield. Those ruins are dangerous as there is a lot of corners, a lot of places to hide. Oh, it looked like purple tracers there. This could. Oh, Popcorn is doing what I was talking about earlier, is giving away his position when he shouldn't, as he's not helping himself and he's not hurting somebody else enough for that to matter. Now, this is the better approach. Technically, Popcorn, you should be moving away from this corner and towards the circle to hold out both players, as that would give you the advantage, in forcing both of them to fight and keeping yourself safe. But right now, you're making the rotation on the corner of the wall, on the corner of the storm, and they are as well. So you've put yourselves on even ground. You want to always put yourself in the most opportunistic ground for you and for future fights. Right now, we're looking at 10 people standing. We know where 2 are, maybe 3 if the other guy hadn't already gone down. Maybe not. We'll see here in a second. He did make the roundabout over that rock. He's going to be running headlong into him with a Bren out. Nope, he hears him. MP40. He's watching at the rock. Burning. He's got fire damage. He sees him moving around and gets him. He is down. So that is free plates and bullets coming up for Popcorn. Popcorn's up to 7. We've got 9 people still standing on the match. That was good use of pieing of the corner. Pieing is just a generalized technique in which you attempt to put something between you and your enemy, where you can then later win the fight. That was bad sustained fire, and he's in poor cover right now. This other person has the advantage, but unfortunately, Lord Swoldemort was not able to take advantage of the advantage that he had. We have Popcorn bringing it up to 8, 6 people standing, so Popcorn and 5 needs to make this climb on the hill, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This is bad planning. This is bad rotation, because now you put yourself into a point where you may not be able to make this circle rotation purely on the fact that you were not thinking ahead on these fights. So, sure, granted, gained 3 kills, but unfortunately enough, causing yourself a lot of trouble here on this rotation. So not only are you going to be rotating uphill into where people could be waiting, you're rotating uphill into zone, late zone, with very few people still standing, which means you're looking at a combination of really good players and people who are playing more passively. This is the worst time to be rotating, especially as a solo, as these are going to be exactly the moments where the person is going to get their first KIA in the game. It's going to get their first KIA, and it's going to be because you chose to take fights that were inopportunistic, on a bad position, and locking yourself out on the circle. Popcorn has got lucky here on the rotation. 5 in him now as he looks to attempt to win this. Currently sitting on 8 kills. We know, based on the way the circles work, it looks like it should be traveling south closer towards ruins from here. If Popcorn is familiar with the way that the circles rotate, meaning from the largest point going down, so basically wherever the largest gap between the circles are is generally moving away from that direction. So largest gap is here, so that means the circle's center should shift from right around here to around here. Now granted, this can change, but this is the highest level of basically guessing or anticipation based on the way that Warzone circles work. Biggest separation, traveling away in that direction. Popcorn looking to get the high ground, but unfortunately enough, that is also out of zone. So even if he gets there, it's not going to matter. Hasn't seen anybody else on rotation. I imagine there's and looky here. Look, center to zone, went down. So again, the rotation seems to be holding true. Next circle, largest section is here. So that means the next circle should end up around here-ish on these rock formations. Currently 4 plus 1. Will Popcorn attempt for perks? This is a dangerous play. On one side, you can end up with perks that you may want. Oh, also a gun that you may want. On the down... Oh, nope. He was going specifically for perks. He has Ghost, Double Time, and Amped. This is going to be actually pretty bad for him. If he traded in his perks, getting Ghost, he could have accidentally lost Cold-Blooded there, which may be alerting anybody who is high alert. Or he could have swapped off right there into Combat Scout to be able to hit people through objects and trace them a little bit easier. He did see somebody at the rock. That was a bad pre-fire. Bad pre-fire is going to be giving away his position to not only to the person in front of him, but anybody else looking to hold out on the zone. He's standing really close on this airstrike. He might actually kill himself. Popcorn is playing this dangerously close to his own airstrike. Another airstrike coming in. This time it's coming in from the southwest, which means most likely there is someone to the southwest. He now knows that he is pinched between 2 different players. One person on the close that he pushed away, one person moving into the ruins. The ruins is actually the worst option right here. We know that they have to come out of the ruins if you look at the zone. So rotating towards the ruins actually is leaving him exposed while the other person has cover for transfer. This is a situation where it seems like it's going to be the smart move for the play, but it's actually the opposite because with all the additional cover, you don't know what your enemy has, right? You always have to kind of guess what your enemy has. Currently 3 and 1. We did hear some gunfire. That means one person's down over by the where the river was. You don't know what your opponents have. Gas masks, tac stems, ammo boxes, PDSs now means that the gas is one of the most dangerous places where people can come from, and they can show up really, really late. So now in final zones, you want to try to attempt to not stay near areas that are likely to be high volume with a lot of gas to your back, as it's really easy to rotate towards you. Again, the prediction is exactly on it. These rocks were in. Again, largest section is here. Means most likely the small transition circle is going to move somewhere down this way, which means he wants to be on the outside of this formation right here. He knows people were fighting over here. He knows someone was over here. This transition to this rock is very likely. He needs to take this rock to be able to lock this person out because it also keeps him covered from this northern section. But unfortunately enough, he continues moving north. He continues to stay on the west side of the circle. This is generally either, you know, something I haven't seen yet that Popcorn is taking advantage of, or it could be, you know, just a very good prediction. But statistically, this is a dangerous side of this circle to be on. It is slow, which means people can make their way around it. It is the lowest ground because there is high ground all around on the outside of it. He is making a charge in. He does see one player. He starts firing a little too early. He cannot guarantee the kill. There is 2 players at the rock. He knows that that's 3 of the 4 people on those rocks. He has now moved to the location that I told him he should be at, or that I mentioned he should be at. He is currently pushing in. This is not a... It did work out for him. He did land the shots. Good. That works out great. It is currently 2 players remaining. And he's right above him. He is getting fried currently, and he wins. Congratulations, Popcorn, on your, I think that was a 10-kill victory. Congratulations, man. What a winner. What a winner. Okay. So, let's kick over here. What did we learn? What did we learn from that round? Late transitions and solos will get you killed. Firing before you know that you can solidify a kill leaves you without ammo and available for a counterattack, especially in solos. And then one of the biggest things that I think that we could all take out of that one is stop taking fights that you don't know you can't control. We lost 4 of the people that we were watching for that round, all on greedy, early, long-distance shots where they were unable to capitalize on the shots taken, leaving them to be easily jumped after the fact. So if you take anything from this, make your rotations early and don't take greedy shots. I know you want to get as many kills as you can in one round, but sometimes it's just not worth it. You'd rather see that win than you'd rather see that dark screen, right? Okay, guys, thank you all so much for checking out the video. Leave me a comment if you enjoyed this. If there's something that you'd like to see more, something else that you'd like to hear me cover. I'm excited to do more things like this, and I look forward to seeing y'all. Till next time, guys. Peace.